What's up, everybody? Donald here. Thank you for checking out my podcast, the Donald Kim podcast. And on today's episode, I'm going to talk about how to start a digital marketing agency for beginners in 2024. And before I get started, I'd like to give just a bit of background about myself. I am the founder and CEO of a digital marketing agency, which I started several years ago. It's called Optimized Web Media, and it's a full service digital marketing agency that I started, and it's an incredible business in that if you're able to make it work and scale it and create systems and processes, you can literally have an amazing either a lifestyle business, a solopreneur business, or like a full-on digital marketing boutique agency, or a full service, full scale digital marketing agency, a large nationwide agency. So the sky's the limit, and depending on how you want to structure it, you can actually have a laptop lifestyle. Basically, it's one of those kind of roles where it's now accepted to be doing the work completely online. I would say before several years ago, it was expected to you're expected to meet with clients, go to their office, invite them to your office. A lot of times businesses wouldn't sign on the dotted line until you meet face to face, which is an important aspect to business, of course, and building that initial relationship with the business owners or the business team. However, since a lot of things have changed in the world in the last 4 years, that with also utilizing tools such as Zoom and a lot of other online tools, project management tools online, you can actually run the business completely online. And of course there's a skill to it in order to build that initial relationship, to build that trust, so then they sign with you. But and so in this video, I'm going to talk about kind of how what are the steps that that one should take in order to start the digital marketing agency. And I can definitely speak on this since I've created and scaled one, right? So I have a few talking points here, and I just want to make sure that I cover all of them. And so the first point is, why a digital marketing agency? Why would one want to start a digital marketing agency? I think that for for reasons that I just mentioned, you can actually have a laptop lifestyle, and scale and enjoy life and have a good balance. I think that it's a great kind of business to have. I think that if you know how to do digital marketing, like service it, and you work with many different businesses, you actually are able to kind of start any business, because it's really the the initial marketing that you need to build up in order to have a business, right? And so there's a lot of great skill sets that you can actually obtain throughout that process. It's actually quite common, not common, but then it's it's not unreasonable to see agency owners want to dive into the product industry also, and because they have a deep understanding of e-commerce, social media marketing, branding, copywriting, all that good stuff, right? And probably the most important factor is you can actually make a significant amount of money. There's people easily making six figure in the digital marketing space. And if worse comes to worse, if you no longer want to kind of run a business, run an agency, you can actually apply to a company and sign up for probably a director level, VP level marketing position, or maybe even a CMO, chief marketing officer. So there's definitely a lot of great benefits to starting a digital marketing agency. But it can, for myself, it actually enabled me to be, financially free, have freedom to, within my life, to enjoy it and achieve a certain level of happiness. It also enabled me to learn the skill sets to start several other businesses along the way as well. And so it's just been a really great experience. Not easy, but it is possible to do it. And I think that there's a right way to do it. I think that certainly the competition has increased significantly since kind of when I started. but it's certainly doable, and so every business requires some level, of marketing, right? As with other really important business departments, most all businesses need accounting, some level of legal um, assistance, be it helping to write contracts for employment contracts or contracts with your clients and that sort of thing, and so you just learn end to end a whole slew of business skills that are really really important to know, and of course sales and marketing as well are quite crucial. So I'm gonna first talk about what are some of the skills that I touched upon it just briefly, but what are some of the skills that are important to have in order to build and scale a digital marketing agency. So I have this whiteboard here, and so I'm just gonna minimize my screen here, and so the first one actually is sales. Why is sales important? Sales is important because you need to be able to figure out a way to acquire new customers, right? New clients. You can build out, there's a number of ways to do sales, to acquire customers. You can look into the, Indeed, want as look. You filter it by, try to find freelance positions where you're able to have multiple clients. If remote work is something that you're interested in, then try. If there's a filter for that, do that. You can search on to social media. You can find businesses that are online that you think that are kind of deficient on certain areas that you may be able to help them out with. Then you can reach out to them as well. The idea is to find, create an ideal target audience or target client, and then try to find a way to find that contact, so then someone that you need to reach out to know and to reach out to them. And that way you can start that initial conversation. You can also, the good thing about looking at, like the want ads, job boards, is that, companies more than likely had already set out a budget to hire somebody for that particular role. And there's a lot of reasons why a company would want to go for a freelance contractor than an employee. And so that's for another business video for sure. But yeah, I think that is important. You want to sign up for networking events. So if there's networking groups, business networking groups, there's the BNI group locally that you can try to reach out to, where they share leads and help you prospect. I think that going to networking events is really, really good. Your network is your net worth. You want to also start to create a digital marketing, I guess, presence online, right? And that's the marketing side. And so here, this is really important because you need to be able to showcase some of your work, right? And so, but if you're just getting started, I think that at a minimum, you should actually learn some level of web design. You can with the website tools platforms these days, you can pump out a really nice web design really easily. You can build out there's WordPress, there's Squarespace, there's Wix, there's even Shopify for e-commerce, so there's a number of platforms you can actually utilize in order to quickly build out a website. And the reason for doing that is you want to have a presence online where you can actually have examples of some of the work that you've done. So like you want to have an about, and about me, and then also your portfolio, and so that's really important. Kind of going back to the marketing side, yeah, I would say make sure you're on all the social media, major social media, and create like a professional brand. LinkedIn obviously is crucial. I think a lot of companies, when they are looking to hire somebody, they'll look into your background, and so they'll look at your online presence. So like, yeah, so make sure you have a professional Instagram, maybe even Facebook too. Depending on where you're at, that might be important. And so there's many other platforms as well, TikTok, and so just make sure that it's professional, and because ultimately usually people who are hiring, you know, you, that their job is online too, because people within the organization is entrusting them into hiring you, and so you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, right? And so, but I would say LinkedIn, probably the most basic. You need to make sure you have professional background, and so make sure you have all your credentials, your education, your work history, and all that stuff. And if you can get recommendations, that's helpful as well. Other skills that are important then is you need to be able to service your clients, right? So you need to learn actually digital marketing skills. So I started out doing SEO, like really technical SEO, and so that's a skill to learn as well. There's social media, there's PPC Paid Ads, there's what else is there? There's copywriting, content, maybe even video editing, graphic design, website design. So there's a lot of things within the digital marketing services space that you can promote to service. And so that part is really important, because if you don't do good work for your clients, then they're most unlikely they're not gonna keep you, and you're gonna experience a churn, right? And so, which is what you don't want to do. You want to make sure that you keep your clients as happy as possible. Provide really good customer service. So that's another skill that is super key. Like, with so many like competitors, incumbents in the market space, you need to be able to provide really good customer service. And what does that mean? You need to make sure you're responsive. Not responding back in like 3 to 5 days. You should respond, ideally within the same day if possible. Create a good cadence and understanding with your client of, how you normally respond, and then make sure it aligns with them. But yeah, you want to be responsive, provide great service, and help problem solve within reason. Other skills include, I would say accounting, bookkeeping, because when you are, depending on the contract, so there's a number of ways to actually bill your clients to earn revenue. You can either do it by hour, you can either, do it by project based, where you scope out the project scope, and then you give them a cost estimate and the estimated timeline. And then there's also retainer. I prefer retainer because there's a lot more, I would say there's a lot more, predictability in your own income, right? Which is important. So some aspect of legal, so contracts, when, for, quotes, proposals, and then also when you start hiring, you can hiring contracts, employee contracts, things like that, right? You want to make sure that you have legal help with these documents. I want to make sure that so revenues, you can revenue models include, all right, retainer, which is my favorite, and then project based and hourly based. And you can actually, with respect to the hourly based, you can actually look online to find what is the competitive going rate based on your location and your experience. You also have to know HR. So if you're hiring, it's important to establish your company's mission, vision, and values, because that's what you're going to utilize to help understand, what is it that are, what are your kind of positives when it comes to like when someone wants to work for your company, right? And that it's kind of like with sales as well. You need to be able to sell the company to any new hires, right? And so operations, and so also super important, systems, systems and processes. So and then also to IT. So you need to have some level of cybersecurity. You need business email. I should put cybersecurity underneath that. To secure not only your emails but also your websites. There's a lot of attacks even on small businesses, so just be cognizant of that. And then so business emails, cybersecurity. Yeah, so those are really really important to have. As your business becomes more kind of established, you also want you want to look into like the different types of businesses. So there's there's solopreneur, there's a small business, a corporation, and within it you need to go through the legalities of you know uh, registering your business name and your business, all that stuff, good stuff within your where you currently do business. So yeah, so that's really really important to have. So the next, so those are the main business skills to actually know that I think are important um, to actually running a digital marketing agency. But start kind of one, step by step, and then so slowly but surely you go there. And if you look at these skills, I mean, these are skills that are super important to have even when you're running another type of business. If you're running a coaching business, consulting business, any type of consulting business will require these skills, right? And so this is why I love the digital marketing agency model. Setting goals and expectations. So like I said, yeah, so you want to, usually what you want to do is you want to start out as a kind of a freelancer, doing contract work. And so understand, part of that is understanding your rights as a contractor. You're not an employee within a company. And so how do you find those clients? And so, like I said, as part, when I was talking about sales, you want to be able to, uh, find businesses that may require your help. And so when you start building a name for yourself and you have case studies and portfolio and online presence, people will find you. And then they'll either ask you to submit an RFP, a request for proposal, or RFQ, or request for a quote. Or and then you want to set up a discovery call to understand the project scope. And then basically what you want to do on that initial discovery call, is find out what they're struggling with, what are the pain points, and that way you can better understand how you can help them with what you know. But yeah, it's super important to set your goals. I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna put in these other talking points that I wanted to address, and so I want to make sure that I have everything here. So I'm gonna so yeah, I want to make sure that I have all of that, all of this mentioned. Let's see here. Yeah, I wanted to make this a little larger so then you guys can see it. Okay, let's go here. Next, just gonna get rid of these bullet points. So if you're listening to this podcast through audio, I just want to mention that I also have these podcasts on YouTube. So those that are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, be able to see the whiteboard. And so, all right. Next, types of marketing agencies. So like I said, there's a number of aligned with the section that I talked about with skills. There's a number of types of marketing agencies. There's SEO, there's social media, there's paid media buying, e-commerce. There's Amazon. marketing, copywriter, video editing, and so there's a number of different types of marketing agencies that you can create. I would say initially you probably want to kind of focus on at least one or two, and then you can slowly but surely grow it and scale it. The more services that you're able to provide, the more kind of valuable you are, I would say, within a company, and also the more you can charge also. The next part I want to talk about is how to land your first client, how and when, and I kind of touched upon this in that you can go on to, like I said, like Indeed, job boards. You can go to networking groups. You can go to there's other techniques as well. Like for instance, you can find, if you wanted to target, local service businesses such as roofers or painters or flooring companies, you can just look up like flooring, your location, like flooring Toronto, for instance, and then you can see all the Google business maps of all the listings, and you can find the ones that are that don't really have a strong online presence, then you can try to reach out to them. Usually, the smaller the business, the higher chance you can get a response if you reach out to them. But mind you, just keep in mind they get hit up all the time, right? And so you want to be tactical and strategic when you do those outreaches, and also keep in mind that the castle laws, meaning that you cannot just send unsolicited emails to anybody. You can get a lot of trouble for that. So make sure that try to reach out perhaps on by phone call first, and or you can also visit their business, but just make sure that if they are a brick and mortar business, then you don't want to kind of bother them while they're working, right? And so just be respectful at the end of the day on that, right? So so there's a number of like different ways to actually get new clients. So the next thing is you want to be able to create a proposal, quotes, and contracts. And so this is based on your, this is assuming that you just had your discovery meeting where you talk about the business's pain points, and then what that contract or proposal normally includes is a little blurb about yourself first. Maybe it can include your portfolio, your website, some past work you've done. And then you want to lay out, the services that you want to provide. So provide information on that. And then you want to document what is the actual scope of work. Okay, the client needs a new website. They need SEO for their website. They need help building out their social media presence and content, calendars, things like that. List that all out and then put a price to that. And then based on that, you send it back to get signed, right? And usually it helps to have a, usually in the sales process, you want to try to set up the next meeting before, to ultimately sign, because the last thing you want is spend all this time kind of talking to a business and then they ghost you, right? And so you always want to create value and respect the time. So if it includes like doing an initial audit of the website, for instance, or the social media presence, do that and then let them know that you want to present your quote or your proposal, and then also present your initial audit findings. Usually that should be paid, but then if you want to include that as a way to kind of ensure that they make it to the meeting, that you want to do that within reason as well, because you don't want to spend like hours and hours and hours of providing free work and then then them just kind of taking your strategies and hiring somebody else at the end of the day, right? So just be cognizant of that unfortunately happens sometimes. Learn the skills to service clients, like I said. Yeah, so as mentioned, you want to make sure that you are servicing your clients the best way possible. You want to make sure you get them good results, communication is on point, all that good stuff, right? You want to also build out a portfolio, and so if you build websites for people, you want to maybe lay out on your website, your personal website, that you built this website. It's for this maybe it's for a dentist, and then you ensure that it's mobile responsive, it's fast loading, you implemented initial SEO, things like that. And so you want to build a portfolio. Basically, it's a way for you to showcase your past work, because that's really the best way to showcase, your skill set, right? If you have case studies, that's helpful. So if you help a business achieve a certain result, like you help increase their leads by X percentage, you want to have that, white papers that speak on your services and your results. As mentioned, yeah. So if you don't have a portfolio because you don't have any client work yet, but you want to still show something, I'm a firm believer that you should build your own personal website, personal branded website, and then set up things like Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Business Profile, and that way you can actually have some SEO, and then you actually show, seeing some of the, you actually have tangible experience setting these things up, because this is a really crucial part to SEO, right? Social media, you want to connect them to, and so it's really important to have it, and that way you can showcase your skills, that you're not just somebody who just learned things on YouTube, which is important, but then you want to show that you actually have tangible skills to actually do this, right? I mentioned that you want to have those case studies. All right, so let's see here. So how to become an expert marketer? Like I said, when you create your own website and do your own social media, that's going to help you learn so much about it. And Google, for instance, also has a ton of certifications. So Google certifications. There's also SEMrush certifications. You can learn a lot about SEO. I think even HubSpot also has a lot of certifications. So go check those out and that will also I would say the Google Analytics, Google Ads certifications. That's kind of a basic. They give you a license number, so then they can always kind of check to ensure that you actually have that those certifications. So I'm just gonna make sure that so Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Business Profile. I'll create another video on how to create a personal brand, a really strong LinkedIn profile, because that's going to be super important, right? Tools for running your agency. So, when you get to the point where you're starting to hire a team, so kind of initially, like I said, is you're a freelancer, and so but it's important to document everything. I would say documenting and reporting is so key, because you need to be able to showcase. A lot of times some clients might say, oh, can you give me a summary of the deliverables that you've completed in the last month, right? And so you want to make sure that you have tools that document things. Any of the Google Suite, Microsoft's Office Suite, super important to be able to organize your task workflows and things like that. You can use Notion, there's ClickUp, there's a number of tools you can actually manage projects, and that's going to be super important when you start hiring a team, either be contractors or employees. And so you want to be able to have everybody on the same page within your team, that for instance, if you're managing a website project and you have web designers and graphic designers on the team, you want to make sure that they have all the same resources in place. That makes sense, to help make sure that those projects are done within budget and also within the estimated timelines. And that part, the estimating the time and budgets, that's important, because ultimately when you have a team, that's going to be part of your operating costs and expenses. And so you need to be able to, as a business owner, you need to understand that the money that you keep is the money you keep. Things after paying all your expenses, like your team, your payroll, taxes, things like that, right? And so you want to make sure that your profit margins are healthy. So after paying all of your expenses, that you're able to earn enough income for savings, right? So, which you can also in the future like perhaps invest in other things within your business. Super important, identifying your target clients. I think for me initially, I kind of took kind of like anybody and everybody because I wanted to get a strong foothold in terms of my portfolio. And that I think was super important for me also because I didn't want to be pigeonholed into certain niches. I want to be kind of known for being able to, you know, do well in marketing within any business. And so there were certain businesses that were impacted about 4 years ago, like, you know, for instance, like any of the like hospitality or even like dental and, you know, for a while and fitness, for instance. A lot of those businesses and restaurants, they were really, really impacted. And so if you only targeted a very specific target client that was hit by those type of issues, then it would definitely impact your business. So I do like doing that, but ultimately I think that eventually what you can find is that there are like the type of clients that you know for sure you can get really good results because you've worked with hundreds of businesses on achieve their goals, right? And so be it either e-commerce, local service businesses, you know, coaching consultants, for instance. So there's a lot of business and so that you can identify as your target clients. And then when you know your target audience, clients, and their avatar, that way you can actually create marketing within your own agency to help grow. And when you do that, then leads will come in, and then that will feed the sales, and then that will feed the client acquisition. That will feed, you know, so client acquisition. Let's see here. So yeah, so that's important. And then next thing, you know, when to know when you need to start hiring a team. I would say, in general, you want to get to a minimum of 10K per month, because the reason is, you know, like if you are going to hire like a full-time person, it's going to cost at least anywhere, you know, lowest probably like 2,000 for a contractor part-time to like 4 or 5K. And if you're, you know, if you're only bringing in like 6K, it doesn't leave you much. Basically, your staff is making more money than you. Basically, you know what I mean. So, you know, you want to make sure that you attain a certain revenue, and then based on what you think you can hire, you know, that's when I think it's a good time to hire. What would be some good first hires? I would say someone that can help you take over the operations, the day-to-day. And then there's a certain point where you might need an admin person. Then you might need to start hiring an exec team, you know, to help scale and grow further. So there's levels for sure, right? And so, but in the beginning, you need to land your first client, and then you can grow from there. Super important, I think that time management and productivity is super important, because you're going to find that when you're trying to get new clients, service your clients, you know, time is going to be your limiting factor, and that could impact how quickly you can respond to your clients, how quickly you can actually do the work to get your clients results, to keep them happy, right? And so you want to make sure that you create systems in place and you reutilize a calendar or and also like a task list where you're super good at managing your time. And so managing your calendar, right? And so that includes client calls, client meetings, new sales calls, you know, team calls, things like that. So productivity is super important to do that, and I'll create other videos on that, but that is probably one of the essential skills in order to run a successful agency. Now, how do you scale to 10K? So as mentioned, I do like retainers because that's when you set up a contract where your client pays you on a monthly basis. If you're charging 3K per month, for instance, the business that you're working with has to be a certain size, or else they're not going to be able to afford you, right? And even if they're able to scrape by, it'll make the interaction very difficult, because it's pretty much do or die situation for them, and that is a lot of stress, right? And so if they're willing to understand your kind of just starting out and what their willingness to pay, then it's kind of on them. But then, yeah, you want to be forthright, honest, and transparent on all aspects of your communication with your clients. Super important. But if you, for instance, you have, if you charge, like, for instance, $2,000 per month for SEO service, for instance, right? You only need 5 clients to achieve 10K per month, right? If you charge 5K per month, you only need 2 clients, right? And so just be mindful of, usually the larger the project scope, the more time it's going to require you to do the work, right? But you're going to get to a certain point where you get so good and your team gets so good at, onboarding new clients, setting them up, and then getting them into a good cadence rhythm for reporting and delivery of the services that you need to deliver. That it's going to be really seamless, and then you start becoming more time efficient and productive, right? And that's going to help your bottom line as well. But yeah, I would say try to get to 10, and then I would say once you get to 10 and you start really dialing in on the sales and marketing for client acquisition, that's going to be important. Also too, I should say, I want to add customer service. So another skill is communications. So that includes, discovery call, understand, client calls, things like that, client updates. And then another skill is things like customer service. That would also include onboarding, things like that. So you basically learn how to run a business end to end, right? But just start slowly but surely, and then you should be able to grow and scale your business. And so this, I think, is the kind of best method to start a digital marketing agency today in 2024. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than just this, but I think that to answer the question, is it a good opportunity today? I think it is. I think that it's a great business because there's not a huge startup cost. A lot of other businesses that you start or you want to acquire can cost 6 figures to 7 figures, even more. But this is, you're providing a service. I think if you can provide a service and you meet pain point in a market space, and they're willing to pay you to help alleviate that pain point, you got a business. You have a service-based business, right? And so I think it's a great opportunity still in 2024, and hopefully this was helpful. And with that said, yeah, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll also be working hard to get the podcast on all the major platforms as well. With that said, I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. Until next time, take care, everybody, and have yourself a great rest of your day. Bye now.